Throughout the day Tuesday, people across the country took moments to pause and remember Border Patrol agent David Chris Maland. He was killed in the line of duty in Vermont 1 year ago. Well, tonight in a special report, we recap the events that happened before, after, and on the day of that shooting, and how it could have prevented a cult-like group from even expanding in the Northeast Kingdom. Here now is Fox 44's Matt Holderman.
I didn't know about it until I got home and started watching the news, and you know, it was, oh my God, what happened and how could that happen here?
A lot goes on in Vermont's backyards, even up here in the peaceful Northeast Kingdom. Things go on here that a lot of the residents have no clue about.
1 year ago, just about 1 mile away from here down Interstate 91, one of the most infamous events in recent Vermont history played out. A traffic stop turned shootout that left 2 people dead, including 1 Border Patrol agent, and a web to a complicated group some have described as a cult was revealed.
Here it is, right here. We drove right by it.
January 20th, 2025, 44-year-old Border Patrol agent David Chris Maland took part in a traffic stop in Coventry, where agents questioned the occupants of a small blue car, Teresa Youngblut and Felix Bachholt. At some point during the encounter, investigators say Youngblut and Bachholt drew guns and began firing at the agents, with the agents returning fire. Both Bachholt and Maland were killed and Youngblut wounded.
And there's the Border Patrol pickup truck, and there's the little blue car in front of it.
Essex County State's Attorney Vince Aluzzi says he drove past the incident that day, possibly just moments before it turned deadly. 12 months later, we invited him on a ride-along, and what he remembers is still quite specific.
When I went by, it was just the agent and the girl.
So you saw
just the two of them, yeah, just the two of them, and she was dressed all in black, very tiny.
But Aluzzi notes the events that led up to this all started multiple days prior, with Youngblut and Bachholt staying at some local inns, trying to buy property in the area with nobody aware of their backgrounds, except maybe the Border Patrol agents who were monitoring them.
The residents of this area did not have the knowledge of who these individuals were or what group they were associated with, and so it came as quite a shock to learn that not only were members of that group suspected of committing murder.
Come to find out, the pair had ties to a cult-like group known as the Zizians, responsible for multiple other killings across several states. Fast forward to the present, almost all known members of the group have been arrested for the incidents to which they are connected, and many now await trial, including Youngblut, who could face the death penalty if she is found guilty of firing the shot that killed Maland.
It's really shocking, to be quite frank, to have had all of this occur just, again, up here in what we would normally refer to as the sleepy Northeast Kingdom.
In the weeks and months following the tragedies, much of the focus shifted to honoring Agent Maland and remembering who he was as a person. Eric LaValle, who was one of the patrol agents in charge at the time, shared some memories with us this week, saying Maland was one of the most happy-go-lucky, hard-working agents he remembers supervising, and the loss still affects him.
Very striking. Opened up that hole in my heart that, in all honesty, has yet to heal. With Chris, you could always count on him to at least have that, like I said, have that smile, have that positive can-do attitude. When you show up on a midnight shift and you really don't want to be there, but here he is coming in with a huge grin.
As those who were close to the incident and everyone else look back on it this week, many say the mission going forward stays the same, honoring Maland every year and never forgetting what happened, keeping in mind that even in the quietest corners of Vermont, anything can happen.
You know, we just all need to stay vigilant, and you know, if we see something, we need to say something too. We all have to work to try to tone the rhetoric down and to try to get along together.
Anytime you have that type of incident occur, it's somewhat shocking to the community.
It's one of those things that it just opened, or it should open, everybody's eyes.
In Newport, Matt Holderman, Fox 44 News.